absolute best.
Yeah, they had us the first half. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, could be Wayne.
I think I got my swagger back. Oh.
I love it, baby.
Them orange britches. Something about them orange britches.
Tennessee wins. By Tennessee, Jawan Jennings. Jennings makes the catch.
Ball hit high in the air into right field. Going back is Sayre. And Tennessee can say hello, win column. A grand slam in the bottom of the ninth. You can't draw it up any better.
We just won a basketball game, and we're very happy right now.
McGrath for the win. He got it. If you don't like college football and you watch this one, I'm not sure what your problem is.
Reddit did to do, and welcome into More Important Issues. It is Sunday, March 24th. Ladies and gentlemen, your Tennessee Vols survived. Your Tennessee Vols advanced. Sweet 16 bound. And the goalposts have been moved, Landon. The goalposts have been moved yet again. Make it out of the first weekend. Make it out of the first round. Beat St. Peter's. Make it out of the first weekend, then talk to me. Make it out of the Sweet 16, then talk to me. I mean, I didn't say anything.
Might have lost Caleb there for a minute. Yeah, Tennessee is headed to the Sweet 16. I mean, survive and advanced is the true definition of what last night was. I mean, that was one of the worst basketball games I've ever seen, but it was not the worst basketball game I've ever seen from Tennessee and Texas. That was 2 years ago when I think the score was 52-51. We ended up losing that one. That was, I think, the worst basketball game I've ever seen. This one had a little bit more points, surprisingly. It was interesting. I thought Tennessee was going to run away with it once, we started to hit some shots, and we never really just caught any momentum shooting the basketball. It was odd.
Yeah, it felt like a weird game. I know it's March, so I guess it's just like there's just different ways to win. It's not your typical system. But if you would have told me we scored 62 against Texas, I would have said we lost by 10, 15 points just based on the matchup. And, but I mean, I guess squeezed by 4, made it work. It's just the only thing you got to do in March is win. And no matter how you do it, I guess if you do it, you do it. So, but yeah, it was definitely, I feel like that was the most stressed I've been out watching it.
It doesn't have to be pretty in March, but still, when you're shooting 33% from the field and 12% from three, I mean, I can't believe we won shooting like that. I can't believe Dalton Connect was 5 of 18 and Zakai Ziller was 2 of 12, and we won a basketball game.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, get it out of the way, though. I mean, that was one of the games that I feel like that's the performance we have, that we just blow it. And, maybe we're just slightly edged up enough that, we could still edge by, with the blowing it kind of performance.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, hopefully we got it out of the way. I don't know. Creighton's not going to get any easier. It's going to be a whole different basketball team. They scare me a little bit. So, but I don't know. Maybe.
I think the whole thing with this is you found a way, and there's two extremes. There's one that's like, oh, Tennessee's not a good shooting basketball team. Their luck's probably ran out. That's it. And then there's the other extreme, and I'm kind of leaning more toward this one, where it's we just played our worst basketball game and we still won. All these other teams are screwed.
That's the mentality I'm trying to have is
yeah.
No. So even at our DK and
to.
Kai having no shots made, we can still pull it off. So if this is our floor, which I mean I would never say that because I mean I'm sure we can shit the bed a lot worse. But I mean if this is our floor and we're still able to edge by a good Texas team, maybe this was the worst effort we see for this tournament for Tennessee Vols. I mean if You know, I mean, I think that's the mindset you have to have.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't understand the offensive game plan a little bit. It seemed like earlier we were going inside, getting baskets with Adu and Awaka, and then we just kept shooting and kept shooting. I don't know if it was one of those things where you're just like, I'm going to keep on until one of them goes in. I don't know if it was just one of those things where you're like, you're so cold, like eventually it just has to go in. But I just thought that they didn't have a big. I thought we could have dominated more in the paint and scored more baskets that way, rather than trying to worry about, I don't know, the 3-pointers. I just didn't understand that aspect of it. And maybe I'm just don't know anything about basketball, but I did think that was super weird how the first part of the game you were scoring inside pretty easily, or at least had good looks at the rim, and didn't we just kind of went away from that in the first half. Welcome back.
Yeah.
We'll try again.
Yeah, I thought Disu was going to be more of a problem, and I think like in the beginning of the game it looked like that's how it was going to be, kind of leveled out. But I mean, yeah, the combined 2 for 16, 1 and 8, 1 and 8 between Zakai and Dalton from 3, and 3 of 25. Like that is so abysmal that like you look at the box score, and if you don't see the actual final score, you just don't see how we won. And Dalton Connect still managed to drop 18 points. So I mean, like
it's kind of impressive too.
It really is. I mean, I don't know how it's a sneaky 18.
Yeah. Go ahead, Caleb.
You couldn't have told me Dalton Connect scored 18 leaving the arena last night. No shot. You couldn't have convinced me anybody on our team scored double digits last night, except you could have told me if Tobe Awaka had not had 3 fouls, he would have. But he just got into foul trouble early, and the only guy that seemed to be working for you in the first half had to sit.
Yeah. I do want to mention him because I think, I mean, you obviously don't win without Tobe Awaka, but probably the most meaningful 11 minutes of his Tennessee career so far. And he goes 10 points, 5 rebounds, 4 offensive rebounds. Was just unreal. I mean, the fouls, like you said, added up, and it sucks he didn't get to kind of play out that whole entire game like you would have liked for him to. But, I mean, he was super impactful in those 11 minutes and probably more impactful than anybody on Tennessee's roster last night.
Yeah, and there were questions about why he wasn't in at the end of the game. He's a decent free throw shooter, but I think you want the length, number one, with Jonas Adu in there around the rim. Number two, they let Disu, the freaking assault king himself, Brock Cunningham, they let them play as physical as they wanted to. Tobe Awaka, though, was not allowed to bang around, as was evident in his 3 fouls. And when Tennessee put Texas in the bonus with, what was it, 6 minutes left, 5 minutes left?
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was the ball game. I thought that was it. I thought that's all she wrote. They're at the free throw line. That's the only way they can score efficiently, effectively, and we can't score efficiently, effectively. I for sure thought that game was over. So you knew Tennessee's defense was good, and then you look at the last part of that game, that magnifies how good Tennessee's defense is.
Yeah, I mean, it was unreal last night, and defense travels. It's good that you have that to fall back on when offense isn't going your way. Mm-hmm. Whereas like Kentucky didn't have that luxury. When you're not able to hit, a ton of threes and hit big shot after big shot, you don't have that defense to lean on. You lose basketball games in the first round to a team named Oakland that's not in California.
Yeah, sunny Michigan. Which talking about big time threes, Josiah Jordan James, the biggest of big time threes last night. And Landon, I'm sure you remember as well as the Josiah Jordan James haters. And I know it's not the same. It's not. I'm not saying it's the same, but I don't know if it's been talked about yet. You get any feeling of revenge for that one? Because let me remind everybody that's not a Josiah Jordan James hater. He did unfortunately miss the game winner over Texas in Austin a few years ago. And I know this wasn't the game winner, but talk about putting it on ice, kind of.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he was another guy that kind of like Tobe Awaka, who his presence, if he doesn't have the game he has, you definitely lose that ball game. That three was big. I just thought him kind of getting the ball to go through the net early was like, okay, I'm good. Like I can settle in. And he was your most, besides Tobe, he was your most efficient scorer. He was 4 for 8. Had 9 rebounds, 9 points. I just thought he was pretty solid all the way around last night.
Yeah, Josiah continues to be your rock, kind of. He's the guy that's kind of taken on some of the tougher matchups there on the defensive end. He seems to, sure, he's not going to knock them all down, but he seems to kind of make them when you need him. He made a couple hard baskets there. I remember in the first half that you went through some good droughts, and then when the ball got into him, he seemed to be able to make some tough shots and kind of get Tennessee rolling again. His presence on the court. If you're a box score watcher, don't talk to me, because you're not going to understand. His presence on the court is one of the things that's kept Tennessee rolling through tough games.
Yeah. Well, just looking at the box score, the game doesn't make sense anyway.
Right. If you're I can't believe Texas shot as well as they did. I don't know if, again, going into, I think that shows how good Tennessee's defense played, because they seem to miss a lot of shots. But I think what it boils down to, and this is just kind of trying to piece together what the heck happened in Charlotte last night. I just don't think they were able to get a lot of shots off. And I mean, that's evident in Vescovi had 3 steals. I think Ziegler had 3 of his own. Just a lot of pestering from Tennessee's defense. And so they shot better than you would have thought, but it clearly wasn't enough last night.
Let me ask you this, since you were there. I was watching on TV, and obviously I don't have the best view of everything, but why do you think Tennessee didn't – I was talking about this earlier before you had to reset that router. Why do you think Tennessee went away from going inside as much? Because that was your success early on.
Yeah, I mean, the turnovers from Adu early on, or just the mishaps from Adu, they weren't all turnovers, really stifled that, and you weren't able to kind of go back into that until Tobe came in, and then the inside game kind of started working again. But I think that the early stuff is on Adu for. It's just a weird start. That's not that it's unlike him, but that many back-to-back errors is unlike him. Not that he has the best hands on the team, or we know he's not always strong to the hole, but he struggled there. He did get that dunk early, but I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong. This is just my take. He seemed to be playing a little timid, maybe not very confident. And that first dunk kind of like sunk my heart a little bit. I was like, man, I wish he had just gone with authority there and kind of like shown your presence, shown that you're the big man on the court. And he kind of just, just laid it in. And there, from then on out, I was like, I don't know if we're going to get the strong Adu that we need tonight. Not a knock on him. He played good, made some big shots there, and you saw some evidence of that. And I know soft's not the right word. I think timid maybe is the right word. Just not hesitant. Strong. He missed hesitant. He missed a couple, 13 to 15 footers short. It just didn't look, I don't know. I mean, Texas, credit to them, good defense, very physical team. Kind of going back into your question again, there is why did Tennessee go away from it? I think Texas did a really good job of making Tennessee, of challenging Tennessee attacking the rim. Every time Dalton Connect got the ball on the wing, they did an excellent job of taking away any route to the basket that wasn't via baseline. They did a really good job of taking away the Adu roll. He was having to pop almost every time. Their defense out on the wing against Connect specifically, I thought was very, very good. And so I think that hurt you going to the rim. It seemed to be the only one that could really drive effectively was Zakaya, and he had some mishaps too in terms of passing. He had that one that sailed high on Josiah in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
He had some passes that maybe, were maybe should have been caught, but also are difficult to catch. Inside to Adu and inside to Awaka. I think Awaka got one hit in the chest and somehow converted, actually. But a very tough pass. He did complete it at the end of the day. But, I mean, he had 7 assists, probably should have had 10. I say should have. I guess that's not the right word, but guys got to catch it. Guys got to finish it. And then some that he just missed a little bit on. But I think Texas just did a good job of not allowing it. Also, I still feel like I felt like this in the SEC tournament against Mississippi State, another physical team. I feel like Tennessee was impatient at times. Do you get that same feeling in terms of they seem to get stifled on the first attempt to go to rim, and then they seem to just try to go faster rather than trying to set something up?
Yes, sometimes I feel like they kind of go away from stuff too much. Like if somebody has the hot hand, they'll go to him, and then their first miss, and they won't go to him again for a couple possessions. It's like, dude, one miss isn't going to kill you. I mean, look, 22 misses didn't actually kill you last night from 3. So, yeah, I think there's a little bit of being impatient or, just being willing to go back to something if it didn't work that one time. I think Texas has to do a good job of denying Tennessee of driving to the basket because they do have a lack of size inside. So that is their way to, not get destroyed on the boards. And they did to a certain extent, but you didn't really notice it until like after the game. You're like, oh, Tennessee did really well rebounding the basketball. A lot of that was because there was a lot of rebounds because there wasn't a lot of made shots.
Yeah, it was very tough going from watching North Carolina, Michigan State, who there for a good amount of basketball made everything, to Tennessee, Texas, who, I mean, I'm convinced that you could have picked any fan in the arena and they could have shot better from 3.
Oh yeah, I think I could literally go shoot 3 for 25 from half court right now.
Yeah,
pretty easy.
I think you could. I think you could too. Definitely in young campus gym. Another thing I think the kind of corrections I'd like to see. This is a little bit on Dalton Connect. A little bit of credit to Texas, and a little bit against Tennessee as a whole here too as well. The inability to get Dalton Connect to basketball 6 minutes into the game is not good. I think that's more of a detriment to winning forward than this kind of shooting night, because this kind of shooting night, I don't know if it's physically possible again. I pray it's not physically possible again, because you won't win basketball games doing that. I don't know how you won last night. You did, but I don't know how. I think Dalton's got to work a little bit harder to get open. I think on Rick Barnes here a little bit. So you get to the 4-minute mark, under 16 timeout, and Dalton Connect hadn't touched the basketball on the offensive end. You're drawing something up to get that man the basketball. I don't care if you've never ran it. You figure out where you have to put him on the court to get him the basketball. And then I think Dalton, I think, has got to do a better job with the ball in his hands. Last night, how many times did we really see him even attack that elbow that he likes to shoot at? It wasn't very often. He seemed to kind of get stuck on the wing. And I know he's good.
I think a lot of that is Texas knows exactly what Rick Barnes wants to do, and they made sure like that is the one thing that they are not getting is the elbow.
Yeah, no, I think Texas played excellent defensively. I don't know how you'll see if you see another team play that well defensively against Tennessee. I mean, they're probably gonna have a good chance of beating them, but I don't know if that's possible.
Yeah.
Now that doesn't mean they still can't beat them. I'm just that specific example won't beat them. But I think you got to see Dalton be willing to get. I feel like he got mismatched a lot and didn't take advantage of mismatches.
Yeah.
When I saw that ugly mug knockoff Temu Spencer Rattler guarding him,
Weaver.
Yeah, just go at him.
Yeah.
Put your shoulder into his chest. He's probably faster than you, but put your shoulder into his chest and move him. And if someone comes to help, then you find the open man.
Yeah.
Also, use your arm if you want. That's apparently legal.
It was just funny watching.
That's, by the way, the Samford foul call was the most egregious call in the tournament. That is by far, in a way, and I know I'm biased, that is by far and away the most egregious foul call in the tournament. So non-foul call, because it happened so slow in front of two officials with great angles on it. Nothing.
Yeah. Also, was it Dessou have an off? He just like shoves Zakai and then hit a three.
Yeah.
He just
I mean, that it wouldn't have been a game if it wouldn't have come down to how it did if that gets called, if that foul call gets correctly. I had a guy sitting in front of me. I don't know who he was there for. He didn't have any team's colors on. He was just cheering against the refs. And there were some calls I disagreed with. That man yelled loudly during that one.
I respect that. Just go to any sporting event and cheer against the refs. Whatever they have to say, cheer against it.
Yeah, he was wearing a Tyler Childers shirt, so kind of already had my respect from the get-go. But then he was yelling about some other stuff that, you know, the respect started to drift away. But he
must
got me
have won
back on
those
that foul
tickets
call.
as like a work raffle or something.
I guess he's wearing a Country Squire tour shirt, and I loved it. But he didn't get as upset about me on the foul call. Did we ever figure out what happened? I'm assuming they called it on Meshack, where Weaver came down and hit his own player in the face. And Meshack, I mean, maybe touched his hip, maybe, but he clearly hit his own player. His own player got poked in the eye. And they called the foul on us.
They called it on Meshack. And he does like graze him, but it was the softest foul I've ever seen.
That's what that's
in real time. I was like, Meshack wasn't anywhere close to him. He didn't even touch him. And he does graze him a little bit, but it's not enough to be a foul.
What was funny is in my section, I immediately stood up and I was like, that was his own player. And everyone's kind of looking at me like, what? And I was like, and then they showed the replay and everyone was like, that was his own player. And I was like, and Meshack may have touched him, but it's the softest foul on the planet if he touched him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a hilarious one. I had a front row seats for that. That was on our side of the court, my side of the court. So that was good.
Did you feel like when we were up at the half and we were 1 for 13 from 3 at that point, up 9, did you feel like we were up 25 points? Because
I thought we were down 25.
I thought we were up because of how bad we played. I was like, I mean, if we are even, you know, just a tiny bit better in the second half, we blow them out.
I wish we were just bad defensively or something. I wish that game was 38-29 at the half or something like that. And I would have felt a lot better. But I just knew you can't come out of the half and just fix your shooting woes. Now, I thought more would have to fall, sure. I didn't think you were going to shoot 4% the whole night. But I thought Texas was gonna come out on fire and it was gonna somehow be a track meet. I was like, we better get going in transition. That's another thing is I don't know what we ended up scoring off their 17 turnovers. I don't feel like we converted enough off turnovers.
I think we had nine points off turnovers, something like that.
Yeah, I don't feel like we were doing a good job of taking advantage of those situations, and just you gotta be better there. 17 turnovers, you got to get more than that. But again, credit to Texas. I mean, they made it difficult getting numbers because they fought their butts off to get back.
Yeah. Well, what do you think Al Wilson would pay to be able to tackle Brock Cunningham?
I don't think you had to pay him a dime. I think you just give him the go ahead.
No, how much would he pay to get?
Oh, would he pay? Oh,
yeah.
Whatever his bond would be, I don't think he'd pay up front.
Because I know that man loves defense, but I'm sure he hates some ugly basketball like all of us do.
Brock Cunningham's the most How is he? He's the most worthless player.
Yeah.
How tall is he? And he's tall and unathletic, and he just sits out on the wing and just waits on the ball. He can't dribble.
Yeah.
He can barely shoot.
Yeah.
And then he gets, and then an offensive rebound that he doesn't even have a chance at. He's mad that a guy's boxing him out, so he throws him.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like, he had to wrap his arms around Gainey and throw him to the ground for them to get a foul called. I mean, Tobey just like moved people out of the way with like his pinky, and it was a foul.
Yeah, I mean when in the arena when they said his third foul, I was baffled because I couldn't think of 3 times he was in an area to foul someone.
Yeah.
it truly blew my mind. I need to go back and watch the game and just see how he acquired those 3 fouls because that was egregious. And then you get to a point where Texas is in the bonus. It might have been closer to 10 minutes with it left in the game, and Tennessee's got 3 fouls.
Yeah, which also kind of like hurt Texas a lot.
It ended up working out. Because I mean, you were able to burn off a couple seconds before they could put you to the free throw line. It did end up working out in our favor.
Yeah,
that's not usually how it goes, though.
No, it doesn't.
And another kind of comment on where Tennessee kind of got lucky is I don't know how many of Tyrese Hunter's points were scored in the final 3 or 4 minutes, but he seemed to really get going and get really comfortable going to the basket. And I'm just in my head during that game, I was thinking, I'm glad he didn't figure that out the other 37 minutes of the game.
Yeah, did have 6 turnovers, so I guess he figured like, screw it, this is it. It's over anyway if I don't win it.
I think he took that terrible shot to tie the game too, with plenty of time left.
Yeah,
I didn't know what they were doing there.
One thing that I want to point out is like the end of the game, like those are not easy free throws to hit in that moment. And Tennessee was
especially
just
while you're shooting
down and knocking them down. And Adu had to knock. I think he had to shoot 3 or 4 in that like last minute span. Those were huge. And then Dalton's to kind of seal it, where it's like, hey, you hit these 2, there's no doubt. And he knocks them down. And then Rick Barnes, with 8 seconds left, he calls a timeout. I'm like, dude, you just ice your own shooter?
Yeah. I'm going to imagine that was to get to make sure. Well, they were also switching out Meshack and Vescovy offense and defensively. I think I just the way, and I wish Vescovy was playing better offensively. I think I just keep Meshack in the game there. I guess he's better from the free throw line. Vescovy is, but I still think I'm just going to roll with Meshack at this point in that situation. If you're going to put him in defensively, I'm okay with Vescovy playing defensively. He's not quite got the length, but he's the pest, and he does foul. Foul.
Yeah, I think I go with either one, and just let my shooter shoot the ball.
I'm probably not taking a timeout to switch them there.
Exactly.
They were switching on when they could, and then I don't know what that timeout exactly was for, but I'm not saying that's what it was for, but I'm probably not taking a timeout to do that. I thought Rick Barnes, though, in terms of you want to talk about a guy that I'm not going to hide from the fact that Rick Barnes hasn't been incredibly successful in March, but he hasn't. But in terms of managing a game, I think he managed that game as well as any coach could.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you end up losing that game and shot the way you did, at the end of the day, like, you're the coach and you're going to get the blame, but it would be hard for me to be like, that's all on Rick Barnes.
Yeah. I don't know how you could that one. I don't know how you could begin to put it on Rick Barnes.
Yeah.
The FAU last year, you didn't shoot well in that game, but I mean, they shot okay. I can see how you get there. They didn't shoot 12% from 3. So I can see how you get there with FAU. With this one, I don't know how you begin to, but I thought he managed the game really well. Talking about Tobe Awaka, I mean, he has to pull him out with 3, and then he lets him go in probably earlier than most coaches do there. And I think he would have let him play longer, but then you ended up playing matchups there at the end. And Adu again, I think was just you want that length near the rim, and I think that's why you roll with Adu. And I mean, Adu played good too. He didn't play bad by any means. I think they did things offensively at the right times. The out of bounds, he still continues to be one of the better coaches in inbounds plays. It's pretty nuts that you can still get Dalton Connect open on the wing.
Yeah. Also, putting Dessou on a poster. I mean, it's just better that Dessou is a Vanderbilt player too. It just made it a little bit sweeter, if you will, that he was able to do that. But yeah, Tennessee made enough plays down the stretch to ice it, win the game, advance. And now they're going to the Sweet 16 where they'll face Creighton, who had another kind of insane game last night against Oregon, where they went into 2 overtimes.
They probably should have lost it in regulation, and probably should have won it in the first overtime.
Yeah.
Real quick, last thing I guess about the game before we completely move on. He is getting a lot of credit for the poster, but not enough talk about that putback.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and where I was at, when's he gonna get teed up for that? I know that one he could have argued someone was under him.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Anyways, from my vantage point, it didn't look like that ball had come off the rim fully. And I thought the nastiest putback we've seen is going to get called back for goaltending. Was the goaltending that they ended up pulling back to? It wasn't, was it?
What?
The goaltending they ended up reversing? It wasn't goaltending, correct? They never showed the replay after they announced it.
No, I don't think it was goaltending.
Though they ruled it non. I'm just asking, did you get to see it?
Oh, I don't think so. That was it's kind of weird. I was in the MVP room. There was no sound, so all you could do is watch.
You're at the game.
Yeah, I was watching the baseball game and the basketball game at the same time, so there wasn't any sound on the basketball game. So,
gotcha. Yeah, so also I got to go to more. That was my first NCAA tournament game. I've got to go to more. Even as a I sat next to 7 guys, I think, from Boston that just pick a regional every year and go to, or pick a first round. I guess it's not a regional at that point, but a first round site to go to. They pick it like a month ahead of time, and so they don't know who's going to be there. And I don't necessarily want to do that. I'd like to follow Tennessee, but it's just I've been to the SEC tournament. The SEC tournament is tense. Like everyone there hates each other, right? And it's just not, you look at everyone, you despise it. It's like going to a bad family reunion, like the one you don't want to go to, that side of the family. But the first round matchups, it's kind of like going to like a music festival. You guys might not all be there to see the same max, but you're kind of rooting each other on.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like
those teams, like you wouldn't even see those teams until the national championship, right?
Right, correct. And so you kind of have like UNC fans rooting for Tennessee, some UNC fans rooting for Texas. Most of the other teams fans left anyways, but you had some Michigan State fans rooting for Tennessee and then for Texas, vice versa. You had some, I had a Gardner guy wearing a Gardner Webb shirt a couple rows down from me, cheering for Tennessee. Okay. Trying to think of some other fans I saw there. There was you had some Mississippi State fans, I guess, left over from the first day that were there. They were cheering for Tennessee. It seemed, I guess. But yeah, it's kind of like, good vibes only kind of environment.
I like that.
And if you have a private plane flying to Detroit Friday afternoon, I'll hop on it. If you got to fill a seat, those things, a certain weight, I know how it works. I'll go to Detroit.
Okay.
Just putting that out.
Somebody texted me the other day and they're like, "Are you going to Detroit?" And I'm like, no. I would like to if it was anywhere but Detroit.
What's first off, before I just say no to going on Sunday? 7 hours, 24 minutes. That's a day's drive. Be tired, but that's a day's drive.
I want to ask you this question before we move on. If Tennessee would have lost that game, were you done going to games?
I never make last minute decisions on games. I just pick them out beforehand, and if I go, I go, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. It is what it is at that point. I would have felt personally responsible if Tennessee had lost that game.
Dude,
yes.
I was almost like secondhand personally responsible when they were coming back at the end. I'm like, dude, Caleb does not deserve this.
I absolutely don't.
But it's also kind of his fault.
Yeah, I mean, I don't deserve it. I think even more like to the point of I don't deserve it. I think a lot of people are probably like, you don't go to those. It's not like I try to get people to go with me, but it's not like it was a social event for me. This is just pure, unadulterated, ill-advised fandom.
Yeah,
I went by myself, and I just wanted to go watch Tennessee win in the postseason. I did this in 2019 when we lost to Auburn in the SEC championship game. And I don't deserve it. I absolutely don't deserve it. I think those are my only 2 last minute trips other than Kentucky in 2015 and football we won. But yeah, I would have felt very responsible. I do think if I was going to be responsible for the loss, I do think I have to be responsible for the win.
Okay.
I don't know if Tennessee edges that one out if I'm not in that building.
Okay. I like that.
I did have to, I felt like I had to kind of suppress myself a little bit because there just were people there like, kind of watching the game around me. Like I wasn't in the Tennessee section. And then when it started getting tight, I was like, don't care, standing up, yelling, I'm being myself here. And also when Cunningham hit that kind of late 3, I didn't yell it, but loudly and, kind of exhaustedly just said the F word over and over and over again. And there were no babies around me. There were no children. It was fine, but I did feel bad for that. I didn't say anything, I didn't yell at the refs too bad, except for that call that shouldn't have been a call. That was it. The only one.
Yeah, it's just funny to watch people like during like baseball games. My dad is a lot more
Fun,
vocal
Joey.
than I am, and you are a lot more vocal than I am. I guess sporting events. It's not a bad thing. It's just we go about it different ways. I would rather do self-harm, I guess. I don't know.
I feel like 90. Yes, I am more vocal. I feel like 99% of my vocal is defense chants. A couple like "Let's go, boys." Now there are times that I lose it on the ref that I've got to calm down about, but it's not the first call of the game.
Yeah,
I'll give them an opportunity to call, make good calls.
yeah.
I think I'm understanding about difficult calls too.
Okay.
Also, I think so. I may not be, but I think so.
Yeah. Well, horns down.
No, horns down for sure. Sorry for not throwing it up in the building. Also, I wasn't around any Texas fans. There was only one that kind of seemed like a prick. He was wearing what looked to be a red jumpsuit because that's not orange, and a chain. And yeah, he looked like a tool. But he was far away enough from me that I wasn't even affected by them.
Big over burnt. Is that what we're saying?
I like that. It's a good saying.
Yeah. Yeah, Tennessee will face Creighton in the Sweet 16. A lot of white guys on the court.
A lot of them. I'm almost exclusively white guys.
Yeah. There is a starter for Creighton is from Germantown, Tennessee.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Creighton's a better basketball team. I do think
Then
Oregon.
okay.
I do think though that Creighton probably is a better matchup for Tennessee in terms of what Tennessee can do to them defensively. Creighton also doesn't have, to the extent that like how Oregon got on this run, Creighton doesn't have the Cousinard.
Yeah.
And pair that with Oregon just being hot right now. Obviously, the loss to Creighton ended that. But I don't want to face a team that's got a dude on it that is also feeling good.
Mm-hmm.
So not taking anything away from Creighton because they don't have a Cousinard, but they just don't have the Cousinard to that extent for sure.
Yeah, I agree with that. One good thing that might go in Tennessee's favor in this game is the last team to beat Creighton is a good old friend of Rick Barnes, Kim English at Providence.
Yeah.
Utilize it.
I think Kim English was zoomed in to the coaches meeting today, the scouting meeting.
Okay.
I'm going to imagine he was very much a consultant this morning.
Yeah. This is kind of his tryout for when Rick Barnes retires.
Maybe, but I think this is more of like, you're going to tell us everything you did. You're going to tell us everything you know.
Yeah. Yeah, Creighton, what we know about them, they do have a big man, 7'1". He's not their leading rebounder. It's kind of weird. it's a guard. But he does score, I think, around 17 points per game. So, but they are going to shoot the three. That's where they score the majority of their points. But I do think it is a team that Tennessee can frustrate defensively and run them off the perimeter. And, my only worry is the big guy. What does Tennessee do against a legit big man? It doesn't seem like they have a great answer for it, other than they got up for Auburn. And, Broome got his points, but it didn't matter.
Wasn't detrimental. Yeah, and I think, too, he's not the physical big man that Adu seems to struggle with either. So I think that plays in your favor. Also, I mean, one thing I really want to see in this game that Tennessee is good about, but also in situations like this, what allows them to struggle, I think you've got to trust your one-on-one matchups. We cannot overhelp in this game. That's how guys get open from the three-point line. And so I think Tennessee needs to trust your matchups, adjust if they don't work, but trust your matchups. Allow your guys to play one-on-one. And then when it gets frustrating and they're missing shots and they have to go inside, then you can start helping and make them make those shots outside once they can't. But you can't give guys any amount of space in this Creighton team, or that they will hit shots, and this will be a game from the time of Grant Williams and Admiral Schofield, where teams just seem like they can make everything on you.
Yeah. I mean, from the looks of it, it looks like it's going to be a good basketball game. The spread's at 2.5 right now. Tennessee is the favorite, so I think it will be fun. I think it's good to kind of get a little bit of a break. You're not going game, day, another game. You get basically a full week of preparation for the Sweet 16, and hopefully you're able to take advantage of, just being in the tournament, number one, because you didn't play well in the round of 32, and hopefully you're just like, hey, we're still in it somehow, some way. Let's make the most of it.
Yeah, I'm. This is a little bit of a shot at Rick Barnes, but I also want to. Did it just feel like? And I mean, obviously, it wasn't defensively. They looked like their legs were fine, but you're just thinking of back-to-back games. I mean, your guys didn't play anywhere near the minutes they've averaged all season. I know a lot of people are upset with them playing late, but if you look at the minutes, they were much less than what it's been all season. Sakai Ziegler played 40 last night.
Yeah,
I don't even think he played 30 on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
But it just seemed like a lot of stuff was coming up short. And so if you somehow win on Friday, those guys aren't allowed to leave the hotel room Saturday, Rick Barnes. Don't you even try to take them to the court.
Yeah.
I don't even want them
stay in the ice bath.
I don't even want them shooting at this point. Because again, it could not get worse than what it did this Saturday.
Yeah, agreed.
So they aren't allowed to leave. You're stuck in your hotel room, like Landon said, in the ice bath.
Yeah.
You bring the training room to them. I don't want them walking.
Yeah,
I know what you're saying, Caleb. Walking's good for you when you're sore.
Taking up to them.
Yeah, I know what you guys are thinking. Caleb, walking's good when you're sore. Nope, not today. We tried that. Anything else?
No, I don't have anything. I mean,
sorry, that wasn't a question to you.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it did sound like I was segueing that. Sorry. Yeah, Sakai Ziegler, I did briefly mention 40 minutes Ironman. Give him the Wooden Award at this point. If Dalton Connect can't win it.
Yeah, and he doesn't. He's kind of like my corgi. Like, no matter how long they play, like you got a ball. I mean, she'll go get it.
He's in
no matter what. Yeah. I don't have anything else. Obviously, like, we'll have another show on Thursday, so we'll get more into Creighton. But yeah, some exciting games throughout the tournament so far. We do have a kind of question or statement from Landon Allen over on YouTube. He says, DK with ice in his veins, making those free throws in the last seconds. Did we ever get a standing O for UK's outstanding performance once again? Blue blood.
No, but we absolutely can.
Yeah, we should. Yeah.
Can I note something? Because we didn't get to talk about that game. That happened on that was during the podcast Thursday night.
Yes. Yeah.
They want to cry that you can't do anything if a guy's shooting lights out, blah, 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 whatever they want to say. Because the guy did shoot lights out against him. I mean, they did. They like to show the video, Landon, where they attempt to guard him that one time.
Mm-hmm.
And they hit it in their face. They don't like to show the one though where he's, the few that he's left butt naked open.
Yeah.
And he hits. But what did he shoot? What was he, like 10 for? He was like 50%, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, he did miss his fair share. So your guys are telling me that it's hard to beat a team when a guy shoots 50% from the 3-point line? That's your excuse? Because Landon, the win they want to hang their hat on for Tennessee fans, they had not one but two guys go nuclear against Tennessee. Reed Shepard, 7 for 10 from 3. Edwards, 4 for 7. Reeves, 3 for 5. Their team, 51.7% from 3. Talk about going nuclear, and you almost lost that game. So save your bullcrap Cal excuses for the coal mines. We don't want to hear them out here in the public ear. Shut up. Take your loss like a man or a woman, whatever you are. I don't care. You got beat, plain and simple. Cal does what Cal is going to do for the rest of his time at Kentucky, which is going to be 10 more years because they're not going to fire him, and he's going to lose in the first weekend.
Built for Mark.
Congrats, Kentucky. You are a historic basketball program. That's what allowed you to win a championship before the rest of the country caught up. Glad you enjoyed it because now you suck.
Yeah, Tennessee has won more NCAA tournament games in the past 3 days than Kentucky has in the past 5 years.
Yeah.
So,
only thing that matters is March? Only thing that matters is March, huh? Okay, well, win in March and you can talk. Until then, pipe down, little boys.
Also, they're like,
boys dressed in baby blue.
They're like, he went and he hit every shot. Dalton Connect went for 40, and they still beat Tennessee. But so you can't blame it on one guy going off. No, if you could guard worth a damn, like you would make it to the next round.
If Cal would run an offensive set once every blue moon.
Yeah.
Or he's a bad coach. Great recruiter, bad coach. He can't coach his way out of a wet paper bag.
I mean, he's setting himself up for failure. He's recruiting one and dones to go one and done in the tournament. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Also, you can't win a championship that way and then cry it doesn't work.
Yeah.
That's not how this, and I know it's different in the NIL era. I get that. But you can't win a championship that way. Talk about this is how we do it at Kentucky. This is what we do, blah, 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 and then not win it that way. And then Landon, don't forget 2019 when they still didn't move on because when they had 3-year guys transfers, they didn't do it then. So he just doesn't know how to win is the point. Yeah. And you all signed him to a lifetime contract because you thought he was Nick Saban, and he's much more Brian Kelly.
That cuts deep.
Yeah. Well, he does have a championship, which Brian Kelly doesn't have. I'll give him that. But that's it. It's it. And then he's a jackwagon who parades, we're built for March. We're built for March. And then tries to go and say, well, these guys got to do this, this, and this. Coach, you said they're built for March. Shut up. Drop the excuses.
Yeah. Hate it for him.
And then
great regular season team.
And then you're in here talking about these guys are ready for the NBA draft. We build NBA prospects. How are they going to play in the NBA next year if they can't go against a 24-year-old that's moonlighting as a basketball player while he's working full-time for State Farm?
Yeah.
His excuses are just roundabout ways. And I know I don't disagree with the sentiment he's getting at. 18 versus 24 is a big difference, no doubt. But you can't parade them as All-American freshmen, NBA prospects, and then with the same voice, with the same mouth, say, what'd you expect? They're 5 years older than them, 6 years older than them. No, that's not how it works. It's not how it works.
Well, don't play them.
I mean, you do have that choice to actually recruit guys and keep them here for the long haul.
Yeah, don't play them.
Also, it's not like these dudes are. It's not like it's only freshmen on the roster. By the way, let's note that.
Yeah, their best players are senior.
Only 2 starters are freshmen, correct? Dillingham and Shepard come off the bench.
Yes, Edwards is
3 of them. Then it's 2 or 3.
Yeah, I think it is 3.
Okay,
freshmen.
Yeah,
it's I don't want to hear the whole like. Look at how many McDonald's All-Americans Kentucky has coming in next year. Who cares? Enjoy them for one regular season, and that's all you'll get to.
Well, and again, he's trying to wonder how he ended up with all these freshmen on the roster, Landon. Like, he didn't build it. Like, it's not his work of art.
How did this happen?
Like, he's in the locker room going, gosh, we have all 18-year-olds in here? What the heck? Like, yeah, coach, I mean, it's kind of how you do things. Maybe if you put a tie back on, you might start winning some basketball games. Go tie or go casual. Pick one. I don't care.
Cal kind of sounds like a predator. Only going for 18-year-olds.
People are starting to ask, man. What's your hold up here?
Auburn also, they were too busy complaining about being a 4 seed in the tournament after winning the SEC championship tournament and got beat by Yale.
I told you it would happen. I told you it was Yale. It was always Yale, which I did say. I will say this. I thought Yale had a good chance of upsetting them. I also said I still believe this. I think Auburn got the better draw because they would have probably been that 3 seed where Kentucky's at. I think Oakland's a tougher matchup for Kentucky, for any team. Not NC State, not DJ Burns, but that I digress. I do think they got the better end of the stick, but they just crapped the bed.
Yeah. Is this a bad year for Cinderella teams? I mean, James Madison, you're like, oh, man, this could be them. And then they got absolutely demolished by Duke today.
I think to the level of like the small schools, the guys that almost like shouldn't be there. Yes, but you do still have NC State, who by all intents and purposes is a Cinderella team.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. I mean, they have
the double-digit seed. Well, I guess Grand Canyon is still in a game with Alabama, so we'll see how that turns out. But
right, but for all, I mean, so Grand Canyon would I think in my mind classify as one. But I think people are going to say NC State no just because of the conference they're in, and I don't disagree. But I think maybe I don't know if Cinderella is the right term, or is that just for the ugly people that aren't invited to the ball? But NC State's already the ugly of the ACC, right? Like they're the outcast.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I think they could classify as a Cinderella in this scenario.
But yeah, Duquesne got whooped.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like everybody who like had an upset in the first round besides NC State. Which I guess one of those teams had to win. Oakland or NC State had to win.
Right. I will say too, kind of talking about next round matchups. I thought Gonzaga would win. I kind of was wishing Kansas would win just in case Tennessee ends up playing Purdue, because I think Purdue beats Kansas, but I would have liked to seen Zach Edey just get absolutely beat up for all of eternity against what's his name? I'm blanking.
Hunter Dickinson.
I almost called him Hutchinson. 2 white guys from Michigan. What are you going to do? I mean, he would have fouled out, but he would have abused him for 30 minutes. And he may not have fouled out because they're Kansas and they get the calls. I don't know I think the NCAA would be in a conundrum there. Who do we protect more?
I don't know. Probably it's got to be Zach Edey.
I think it is, but I don't know. I think they would have been scratching their head in the Indianapolis offices trying to figure out which way do they go with this.
Yeah.
That's another thing about these first round matchups that's cool is they show games that are happening. Like even during the game, if there's a lull in the action, like it's even a 30-second timeout, they'll show the games live. And then at halftime of the game, they had the NC State Oakland game on the screen with the broadcast sound. And so we got to watch that during the game. So that was cool too. Yeah, it was a cool experience.
Northwestern.
Yeah, this might be another UConn. They just,
They're good.
have the easiest. Yeah, they are. They're great. I thought people were. Someone asked me like, who do you have winning it all? And I was like, well, I mean, like the logical person to me says UConn, no doubt UConn. I was like, we know that's not how it works out.
Mhm.
So I was like, I honestly, North Carolina looks good right now. This is a North Carolina fan I was talking to. I was like, you're not gonna like this. Duke looks really good right now. I was like, I could see a lot of different people winning it. Purdue is going to be right up there, depending on what Tennessee does against Creighton. If they actually hit shots, I think I could confidently say they can have a chance.
I kind of like A&M versus Houston. I'm going to be the first one to say that.
I want to see what Houston does tonight because I don't think I could call A&M a Cinderella because of how much money just the school has in general. I mean, they're funded by the freaking Qatar royal family at this point.
Mm-hmm. And they usually have 6 defenders on the court at one time.
Yeah, it's true. But they have that A&M or they have that Cinderella feel to them because you're kind of like looking there like, how'd you guys even get in?
Right.
So, yeah, that they have that feel.
I agree.
I think that's a tough matchup for Houston.
I thought it was looking rough for the SEC. It was like, dude, do we suck? Like, was this the worst year to win the regular season title?
It was, but spin zone, if you didn't win it this year, you're scratching your head going, how didn't you win it? Well, Tennessee won it, so who cares?
That's true.
That's my spin zone. You're welcome.
Okay.
All right.
Got a good friend to tell us about?
I do, and I'm glad I get to tell you about this friend because, as you know, I drove down to Charlotte yesterday. The game wasn't until 8 p.m. I was going to go to the arena for I did go to the arena for the UNC Michigan State matchup, but speaking of going to regionals, all-time matchup to get to see outside of your team. You get to see Tom Izzo, Michigan State, they just mainstays in the NCAA tournament. Even years they shouldn't make it, they get in. And then you have UNC. I mean, Roy Williams sitting 7 rows behind the bench. This is an all-time matchup to watch. And as I'm driving down or getting ready to drive down, I'm thinking, how am I going to stay awake for this one? Like, this is late. I'm already got a 4-hour drive ahead of me. What am I going to do? Well, guys, let me tell you, grade A grounds, they came in clutch. The best coffee, the best grounds, whatever you want to call it. Not just in East Tennessee, but I'm going to go out on a limb here, Landon. I'm going to say the country. And they came up big against the great state of Texas last night, too. So shout out to grade A grounds. While they might be the best coffee in the country, I got even better news. They are local as well, based out of the Tri-Cities. 2 educators from Johnson City are the guys making grade A grounds and making my favorite B is for Blueberry. So we know Tennessee's going to get a late tip Friday. I think it's already been announced, actually. But they'll somehow get pushed back because of overtime. So make sure you get grade A grounds before Friday. Really put the Vols over the edge. Keep you up to watch that game. Keep you up to watch all these March Madness games. Grade A grounds is the go-to coffee. Second, win here. You get to give back to your local community because grade A grounds is giving 5% of your sale to a nonprofit called Coalition for Kids. It's a charity there in the Tri-Cities, and you're going to those classrooms, helping them keep them stocked with the necessary supplies that the students and the teachers need. So we call that Michael Scott, we call that a win-win-win. Go check out grade A grounds right now. And you won't be disappointed.
Do it. All right. Tennessee, I'll be quick with baseball. We're going to have the bat flip tomorrow night, so we won't go too much in depth. But I do want to mention guys came to play today, got the bats going, and took the series. You won the first game, just hitting dingers in the rain. It was fun. Christian Moore had 2 in that game.
Define fun.
Yeah.
We were watching and we're like, that looks miserable.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was fun for me on the couch, but yeah, I couldn't imagine actually playing in that. I guess like you make the most of it, and that's what Tennessee did, and hit a bunch of home runs, scored a lot of runs. AJ Causey, another fantastic outing from him. I think he's 5-0 on the year so far. And it looked like deja vu from the Alabama series. I mean, you have that game on Saturday that it looked like you weren't going to win, and then you came back and then you took the lead, and it's like, oh, I mean, we're 3 outs away from taking this one. And, AJ Russell dealing with some more soreness, goes out of the game. I think that's something to keep an eye on. That's a huge loss for Tennessee when they're trying to search for arms here in the bullpen.
Yeah.
I mean, Andrew Binky's out right now. You got Marcus Phillips hurt. You got AJ Russell hurt. I mean, already kind of question marks in the bullpen as well. And then, so you kind of lose that when Aaron Combs gets hit a little bit. They score 4 runs in that 9th inning, weren't able to get anything going in the bottom there. So you lose that one. And then you get to Sunday and we're like, man, you got to have this one. But who's going to pitch? And Xander came out and pitched really well at the start of the game. Then Nate Snead came in and shut it down. I think he had 6 Ks. He was fantastic today. And Tennessee just made most of the long ball again. I mean, they run ruled Ole Miss twice in a weekend. And in those 2 games, they hit 10 home runs and only hit in 12 innings. I mean, it was unreal what they were able to do. Billy Amick had a big granddaddy today, and Christian Moore had another home run. He's only one behind Blake Burke right now in career home runs. So that's
we talked about that earlier in the season. We talked about that race. We thought Blake Burke would get it first, but there's a chance now. He's made it a story.
Yep. Yeah, he's got 10 on the year. Billy Amick also has 10 on the year. Kavaris Tears, everything he hits is on a freaking barrel. Just love watching him hit the baseball. They just played well today. They hit the ball well, and I think Ole Miss kind of ran out of pitching a little bit, and Nate Snead was able to hold things together for Tennessee and not really prevent any further damage. Gave up a couple runs here and there, but it didn't matter because Tennessee was outscoring you anyway. So,
right.
I think that's a key for Tennessee is continue to score runs. Continue to protect this bullpen a little bit until you're able to get some more guys healthy. I just think there's some question marks with guys that you can depend on, guys that you can't yet, and then dealing with some injuries. So, want to get that figured out a little bit. But you welcome Georgia, who swept Alabama this week. This weekend, you welcome them next weekend. So, should be another fun series on Rocky Top. Probably a lot of home runs. I think they're 1 and 2 in the country in home runs, Tennessee and Georgia. So if you're a kid, want to get down
this weekend too.
Yeah. My one thing for that series is do not pitch to Charlie Condon. Whatever you do, don't pitch to him. But yeah, if you're a kid and don't really want to take it to the game, maybe just sit out there and wait for home run balls in the parking lot because there's going to be a ton of them. I'd say
you don't have to go to batting practice for it.
Yeah,
just show up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no credit. I mean, Saturday I was following along because I was in the arena for that one, but it really felt like Tennessee kind of just let that one slip away. So today felt extra important after last weekend.
Yeah,
didn't want to see that happen twice.
No, needed to win. It sucks not losing that one last night, but you absolutely had to have a win of the day, and the boys came through. So,
love it.
And Frank Anderson gets tossed again.
He got tossed today?
No, he was out today because he got tossed.
Today it was okay. I was trying to remember if it was Friday. It was Saturday. It was while I was there. Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Yeah. Unreal. Whatever. I mean that umpire had a bad night. But yeah,
Henderson let him know it.
Yeah. Well, he actually didn't. Was the thing. It was
okay.
That was the whole thing. It was during a mound visit, and the guy came out there over Frank's shoulder and tossed him. And I heard Tony ask Cal, "What do you say?" And Cal was like, "Literally nothing."
What are these? I'm assuming you saw the umpire go chest to chest with, was it Mississippi State?
Yeah.
Who was it? What are these guys doing?
It was Jay Johnson was one today.
No, it was Saturday or Friday when this happened.
I have no clue.
Lord.
No clue. But yeah, we'll talk about more in depth on the bat flip tomorrow night. So go check it out. Should be a lot more fun episode than last weekend when you're talking about a series loss. So I'm excited for that. I am going to tell you about a good friend of ours that is Knoxville Tours It is never too early to think about football season. Tennessee takes on Oklahoma this season in Norman to welcome them to the SEC. Our good friends at Knoxville Tours have a great 5-day tour that takes all the stress off you when booking and planning an away trip. The trip on the Motor Coach Tour will take you from Tennessee to Oklahoma for the game and some fun stops along the way. The trip will include transportation to and from Oklahoma, 4-night hotel accommodations, and dinner show at Cattleman's. Go cheer on the Vols in the Midwest. They will also be doing tours to Arkansas and Vanderbilt this football season, so go give them a call today at 865-688-6232 to book your tour and let them know more important issues sent you.
Cattleman's, I'm in. Fall football, Cattleman's, say less.
Yep.
All right. I like Ronnie Felt's comment here. Who's the better defender, Shaka Smart or Buzz Williams? I'm going Buzz Williams by a mile, but yeah, Shaka can put on a show there.
Yeah, it's the best for me.
I just find it interesting that these guys are never in the way in the second half. You know, I wonder why that is.
They kind of take it easy in the second half. They're not coaching as hard.
I get, you'd think you coach just as hard on the offensive end, right? You'd think that they'd be in the way on their own offense every once in a while. It wouldn't just be the other teams.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, Blake Barnes does sit down a lot, but I don't know if you guys saw it on TV. You got a Barnes court appearance last night when they had a ball rolling away from the official for an inbounds. And he got out there, not quite as far as Buzz Williams did, but he got out there to grab it. He got a nice little cheer from the home team.
Love that.
The kid can move. Put on a show for the home crowd. He was Hickory, North Carolina, just right up the road. A couple more things too for the arena last night that I need to mention. I tweeted it, but Spectrum Center they offer Dr. Pepper and Chick-fil-A. Sign me up, brother. I'll go back and watch the Charlotte Hornets play any night of the week. Any night. I don't care.
I'm trying to adopt a NBA team, and I want it to be the Charlotte Hornets, but they're so bad. It's just like, I mean, do I even want to dive into another fandom just for them to suck? It's kind of tough.
Yeah, I think that's fair. But if you do get to go to Spectrum Arena, consider that a dub because again, and on a real note, I mean, I've been to some. Obviously a few NFL stadiums, I think it's my first NBA arena, but a few nicer arenas. That's by far the nicest I've been to. Well, Mercedes-Benz is really cool, and they have a lot of similar offerings. I don't know if they have Dr. Pepper, so I think I'm going to give Spectrum the edge for now.
I like that.
And then my favorite part of the night is they were honoring service members and veterans, and they had them stand up. If you've served, and they showed people zoomed in on the crowd, and everybody got their own cheer, kind of as they showed each individual member. The claps got louder and cheers. They showed a guy standing. I would assume a veteran. He looked like he was not serving any longer. He was wearing a Duke shirt, and there were a lot of boos at this guy. Mm-hmm. He was standing because he served in the armed forces, and that did not stop UNC fans from remembering that they hate Duke. And he got booed. And I love that because it was kind of an SEC feeling, like it just means more. It's like, no, college sports, they just mean more. We do not care if you served overseas, brother. If you're a Duke fan, we're booing you, and I love that.
Yeah, that's not bigger than sports.
Absolutely not. That was probably my favorite part of the night there.
I love that. All right. Most important. Got any? I'll go first.
Yeah, you go on there.
First, I'm going to go with the women.
Okay. Just in general?
Well, yeah. Lady Vols getting it done on the basketball court, get on to the round of 32 where they'll face NC State. And then you had the Lady Vols softball team win the series against South Carolina today, winning that one 7-0, and they won last night 2-1. So I think they have another game on Monday, which is so weird how the series days line up. But yeah, that's won that series. So good on the women's front. Wanted to just mention that first.
Yeah, shout out to women everywhere.
Yeah, shout out to all women, not just Tennessee, but all women, but especially Tennessee. Except for Kim Mulkey. Not a shout out to her. She sucks.
That's one of my fails. I find that whole She put herself in a conundrum. I'll get to that in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Staying on the women.
My first,
Go ahead, Cal.
my first one's going to be Peter Malnati.
Yeah.
Secures a win at the Valspar, local guy. Secures a win. That's not just a win on the PGA Tour, which is huge. That is also that guaranteed that he'll be playing here at Augusta in a few weeks.
Yeah. Friend of the pod. Kind of.
In theory.
Yep.
Technically, everyone's a friend of the pod.
Yeah.
It's a one-way relationship.
Yeah. We're going to get him on the pod one day. I'm going to make it happen.
We got to get him and Scott Stallings on.
Yeah, I'm down. Scott Stallings is a beast, by the way. That dude is just.
He's
that guy knows how to fill out a shirt.
Yeah, just tell me your
It's
workout
scarier in
plan.
person.
Do you have one, Joey?
Staying on the women's. Is South Carolina just going to win? I mean, are they just going to just blow through the entire tournament? I mean, they're just dismantling teams. And I'm all about it. I hate LSU, so please get through Iowa, get through LSU, just tear it up. Plus, I got the future on. Got some big money coming in.
I think that's a good pick. I think it everything's lining up. It seems like Caitlin Clark is imploding under the pressure, and then you have Kim Mulkey, who's just going to blame it on a Washington Post writer that apparently is out to get her because he's a South Carolina fan.
All of it, and I don't like LSU isn't that good. Like before the season, I'm like, oh yeah, they should win a national championship, no problem. But like they are not unbeatable. Like I think South Carolina is a way better basketball team than them.
For sure. I also
think
who
I'm cheering for?
The Lady Vols.
I'm thinking of Iowa State.
Okay.
Audie Crooks.
So you're not cheering for the Lady Vols?
No, I am. But if there was another team that was going to win it,
you support all women, is your point?
Exactly. Yes. Thank you for clearing that up.
She's pushing the limits.
Audie Crooks, 40 points as a freshman. Iowa State was down 20 points to somebody. I don't know. Somebody. Come all the way back. And she's a tank. Have you seen this girl?
I don't. DJ Burns type tank, or what are we thinking?
Yeah. Oh,
wow.
Like she ate DJ Burns.
Yeah. I mean, she's.
I don't mean that. I mean, like she's just a unit. She's good at basketball.
Yeah, 18 for 20 from the field, 40 points, 12 rebounds.
All right.
There's no way Iowa State doesn't need a left tackle. I mean, like I think she could she could fill in.
Yeah, I mean, she wears number 55 in basketball, and it looks small on her.
That's awesome.
So I'm all in.
Yeah, no, you have to.
Caitlin Clark, who? Audie Crooks.
What was my other most important? I lost my train of thought there. I was going to hit you with it. Well, maybe it'll come to. I've got a lot of like fails lingering and how we want to go about those because I've got a few. I'm looking for the negative is my point. That's what I'm going after.
I have one more kind of most important thing that I just want to mention. UNC starting five average age is 22.2 years old. Oklahoma City Thunder starting five average is 22.6 years.
How many underage women are the UNC basketball team hanging out with?
Josh Giddey is in that picture. So fair.
That story came and went a lot quieter than I thought it would.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
Yeah, it's weird.
Well, I mean, he definitely he got screwed.
It sounds like it was a situation that got out of hand, but sounds like he had the opportunity to learn the truth.
Yeah.
Sounds like there were signs that were like, "Oh, this might not be right." That's based on the rumors. That's all that is. I don't know anything.
I think it was one of those things where he probably found out and he was like, I mean, it's already happened.
What else? He finds out that it's not like double jeopardy like Michael Scott thinks. It's they can compound those charges, brother. My next most important though was going to be so this whole Kim Mulkey thing. There are LSU fans who now believe this is a hit job because this writer is a South Carolina basketball fan. I think if that's true, this is great for the women's game. You would have never seen this happen even 10 years ago, where you have a prominent media member at a national newspaper going after a women's basketball coach just so to distract them so their team could win. You see that, you would have seen that in SEC football all the time. You would have never seen that in the women's game. I think that just shows how far the women's game has come. And I think everyone should respect that and then just kind of let the cards play and let them fall how they may.
Okay, I'm in.
We're on the women train tonight. Shout out women.
Shout out women. Shout out Grand Canyon. They're beating Alabama right now.
Let's go. Ooh. I hate Grand
they
Canyon, but
teed up in the first 9 minutes. So
that doesn't shock me. I don't know how I missed that though, but that's hilarious. I hate Nate Oates. Did you see Rick Barnes, Bruce Pearl throw his headset down after his own radio, like the hometown radio show? He did a spot with them after the game and then threw the headset back to them.
Dang.
There's just yelling and threw it back to him, which I'm like, maybe don't interview him right after the loss, like he was still on the court. I tweeted at this one guy. I don't get the love for coaches who act like babies. Like I thought it was embarrassing when Butch Jones would get so angry, he'd get red faced, even when he was like early in 2016 when we thought he was going to win us something. I still remember thinking, this is so embarrassing. Please stop.
Yeah,
you literally look like a toddler whose face is turning red. They're so angry.
I think it's also hilarious that we see coaches like get like red faced mad, like talking about like hold your composure to a player when they're like going nuts like that. It's like that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and I don't. A lot of Nick Saban's rants I think are baby-esque. I do think though when you get the mic'd up of him yelling at people, it gets funnier. Like that one that he's yelling at Nick or at Lane Kiffin. I think you can pick up sounds like those are funny at least. But yeah, like Buzz Peterson, that guy, I hate him too. Buzz Williams running onto the court, that's embarrassing. The Nate Oates shoving a player is embarrassing. It's not. Why would you not want a coach who can control their emotions? I don't get that. Sure, be emotional, but control it. Bruce Pearl, just absolutely, he's over there like pouting, throwing his hands up, and you have his son yelling at officials over his shoulder. I think it's embarrassing, personally.
Yeah.
Josh Heupel would never. He's so Rick Barnes. No, Tony V probably would. We can't fully denounce that.
I mean, there's things that Tony Vitello has done that I'm like, I wouldn't do that. I do think I think he's closer to how Nick Saban acts, where it doesn't look like he's pitching a fit to his credit.
He was holding his tongue the past 2 nights. He was ready to go off the deep end, and you could tell he was just like first naming the umpire. He'd be like, Derek.
The only time it's come close to where I'm like, you're throwing a fit was the chest bump one. And even then, he didn't really throw a fit. And the chest bump doesn't happen if that dude doesn't turn around and buck up to him either.
Yeah.
And then, listen, the fit that I love because he was already tossed, and I think you should go get to say what you want to the officials if you've already been tossed, the Ross Kivett fit.
Oh yeah,
and those words would never come out of a toddler's mouth. But you heard about Stephen Pearl yelling at Greg Sankey in the middle of the SEC tournament game. What are you doing? And I hate Greg Sankey, but what are you doing?
Yeah, what is that gonna amount to?
Yeah, it's so just strange.
Yeah. All right.
But yeah, there are times I haven't loved what Vitello's done, but he is my guy. And I'm going to ride with him.
Yeah, he's winning a lot
You
of
just
ball
quietly
games.
disagree.
Yeah. All right, any fails?
Oh yeah, we've already
Hey,
talked
Caleb,
about it,
you
so let's
going
get it
on
out of the way.
Kim Mulkey story. Get on that.
So Kim Mulkey, we still don't know what the story is going to contain. But apparently it's a hit piece. So what it sounds like to me is a bunch of anonymous sources have come forward and I guess done like a tell-all on Kim Mulkey. Said, told her worst attributes, the worst thing she's done as a head coach. And apparently this writer has been writing it for 2 years. Kim Mulkey has known about it. So I haven't been clear on this, if the writer has given her 2 years to be a part of the story. It sounds like he's offered to interview her. I guess we don't officially know who the writer is, but the one we think it is, that he officially offered her an interview. Now she's upset because 48 hours before the story post, he sends her kind of the cliff notes of it, what it's going to contain, or ask for specific comments on specific situations. So she's upset that that's coming now. Again, we don't know kind of what all it's going to say. But she goes on a tirade about how this is attacking the university and these women. I'd like to stop there for a minute. If they're attacking the university, LSU has plenty of skeletons in their closet that they have no ground to stand on. That's that school. So seems fair to me. I doubt they're attacking this team specifically, unless maybe they're talking about some of the shenanigans that have happened this year. So I don't know where she's getting that from. That's strange. I guess we'll see. She knows more than we do at this point. And then she didn't specifically say this, but I've seen LSU fans saying this. They're like, what about all the great things Kim Mulkey has done? Well, she says it every time she can to the public, all the great things Kim Mulkey's done. We don't need to hear any more about the great things Kim Mulkey's done. We're over that one. Like, doesn't matter. And if she wanted to do it, if she wanted to dispel anything in the article, she should have spoken with him. Last thing, she said that she has the best defamation lawyers on standby, ready to sue. You're gonna lose. You absolutely have to sue. Because if you do not sue,
guilty. If you're saying you have the best lawyers on standby, you sound guilty.
Well, she's gonna sue, I guess, for saying that this is all libel and slander, that none of this is true. But you will not stand a case. You're a public figure, number one. It's already hard enough to win a defamation case being a public figure. Second off, it's it's the Washington Post. They have their ducks in a row. They're not just letting writers print anything without going through their checks.
Yeah.
Like, their lawyers are in the room during the editing process. For sure. So you're not going to win. This isn't even going to go to trial, but you have to sue, or otherwise you look real guilty whether you are or not.
She's guilty.
So good luck. I mean, I'm going to guess if you come out before the article even drops and says all this,
Yeah,
you're trying to get ahead of something. I don't even know if I would have read the article if it just dropped, by the way, but now I'm so excited.
I would not have. Yeah, I wouldn't have cared one bit.
Also, why is she grabbing like opposing players' face after they lose in the NCAA tournament?
Is this today? I didn't see this.
Yeah.
Adds up. Oh. God.
Is that like mom grabbing the face, or is that anger?
Yeah. No, that's mom.
Yeah. It's like, dude, that girl does not want your freaking cold, bony fingers on her face.
I would like to say, too, whoever her lawyers are, she's getting bad advice. She should not have spoken on this.
Yeah.
You don't do what she did yesterday. That's so dumb.
Yeah, I've never seen an innocent person like so strongly come out before something like comes out to try to set your own straight. I feel like usually you just let it come out, and then if anything, you don't let them know that you know anything about it. You just deny it or talk to your lawyers and shut it down, and it's like done.
This is what
Yeah,
you
'cause
say,
the-
Kim Mulkey. Let me hit you with this. And I've talked to people that would know more about this than I would. So this isn't just me thinking it necessarily. I'm not saying I'm right, but you tell, because I'm assuming there was a question about it. Surely she didn't just sit down and go, here's what's going on. If she did, even crazier. But you tell the press, whoever asked, you said, I told that writer no comment. So I told them no comment because everything in the article is not true. It is all false. It is all made up. Why those sources that they used said those things about me, I couldn't tell you. They're anonymous, so I don't know if they're disgruntled. I don't know, but it is not true. All of everything in that article is completely unfounded. I did not think it was even deserving of a comment from me. So for that reason, no comment to you all as well. That article is false. Hang up the phone. You're done. That's it. That's all you say. You walk away because you really put yourself into a corner here with the whole lawsuit thing.
Yeah, unless it's like really egregious. I mean, I don't think the sports world was going to burn down if a hit piece on Kim Mulkey came out that just like.
Yeah, everybody already hates her.
That's not news. It's like if it's just like some slandering and saying like, she has bad temperament or she does this behind the scenes and stuff, like an Ellen DeGeneres hit piece. Congrats, you're breaking news. You're not like the most liked person in women's sports in general,
right?
Yeah, college basketball.
And so, pump the brakes. Unless you killed someone, you're probably good. But to be fair, there's a coach on LSU's campus right now that's killed someone. He's still going, so you may be fine even then. I mean, that was a joke. That's parody. That Brian Kelly, I don't know the facts of that case, whether he did or did not kill a kid, but people are talking, and I'm just calling on someone to investigate it. I don't know if that was true.
Yeah, he did it,
dude. What if she did? What if she's like,
she's got literal bodies buried?
yeah, that's crazy.
She's probably gonna have Angel Reese fight this rider.
I'm guessing there's going to be a lot of this article about Angel Reese and what kind of went on this season, because wasn't there a parent that was tweeting about it or like posting on Instagram about it?
I don't know.
So I'm guessing that some of this is going to be about that. That's just a guess.
Read that. I got one more fail, and that is it's just a reoccurring thing at this point. But now you're having Trevor Etienne. He's bought into the culture at Georgia, and he gets a DUI and reckless driving arrest. I mean, like,
there's just something in the water in Athens, brother, and it ain't Tennessee water.
Get it, dude.
I mean, they need to like build a facility where these guys like can't leave. I guess kind of like a prison, which I guess if they keep on the way the path that they're going on, I guess they're going to end up there anyway. But I mean, let's build a apartment complex right next to the stadium where they never have to drive anywhere.
Yeah,
it's just right there. Think just walk.
It's like a private Christian school where like you're not allowed to bring your car to campus at this point.
Yeah, I mean,
just bird scooters everywhere.
Or dude, like their NIL bill is just Uber.
Yeah, just a $3,000 a month Uber gift card.
Yeah, I mean, good Lord,
that's insane. Well, since we've been positive on the women's grind the show, I mean, I don't mean to change it up, but I'll go the opposite direction of that.
All right.
Caitlin Clark got caught up in the post-game interview or whatever and threw out the crazy drop that there's more attention on the women's tournament than the men's tournament, which is just – sorry, Caitlin. And, like, that's nothing on Caitlin. She's good. Like, she's fantastic. She's the best college basketball player for the women's side right now. But there's a reason there was, 28 million brackets for the men's and, 1.2 for the women's. That's it's still more – the women's – it's more entertaining than it's been in years, and I'm not denying that. It's a great subset of a tournament. It's especially coming down to the wire. Like, I'm sure it'll be fun to watch. They're not in the same ballpark. They're just not. It's just it doesn't work like that.
That was actually what her dad was yelling "shut up" about to her when she was saying that.
Probably, yeah, probably.
He was like, "Shut up." That her dad rocks. Big fan of her dad now.
Cool guy.
All right, anybody else?
I got at least one more. It's Big Game Boomer.
Uh-oh.
Is that his name? Big Game Boomer?
Yeah.
So he's had some hot takes this college basketball season so far. Let's check in on a few of those though, just while we've got it. Tweeted Dayton is going to beat that fraudulent Arizona team on Saturday. You can run, but you can't hide. No more cupcake Pac-12 play. Wrong. Nebraska is winning big today. This team is going to make history. That would have been a lame piece of history, but also wrong. The funniest thing about taking a couple of days off this app is coming back to nothing but Tennessee fans in my mentions. Mad about this take. The Vols would still won't make it past the first weekend. Wrong. McNeese is also going to beat Gonzaga. Very wrong. I don't know what his hit percentage is across any given thing. The only thing he's ever gotten right is that this is the best podcast.
I was gonna say we do have to give him that. It's
Blind
That's
squirrel.
all he's got. He's one. He hit one.
squirrel.
Like Tennessee basketball, one had to go in last night, and it did.
Yeah.
He's also, I just went to his page. I was like, I wonder what he's tweeted recently. He tweeted the GCU student section is off the charts. We need to give them more recognition. This fan base is nuts. If you've looked at everyone else's Twitter line so far, they've all said, please take the mic off the Grand Canyon student section. Apparently some girls yelling obnoxiously. So everyone else besides the Big Game Boomer is like, please stop them right now.
Canyon
he's
student
just
section's also
firing
been a
off those
thing for
tweets.
years. It's not new.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it gets plenty of recognition.
Yeah.
It's not a new thing.
You guys be firing
yeah.
off hot takes just for clickbait. Because it's working. I bet you his comments and his mentions are up 10.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I wish people, I have a hard time ignoring some people, but I do good some places. Him, I just talk about him on here, which I don't think that should go to him. It doesn't. I don't know what Elon's doing in the background. You can't trust any of these big tech places.
I mean, Twitter's just live leak now. Fact.
That's all I've got. I do have a question, Lane. I think this is a fail. As a guy who doesn't know baseball that well, did that guy not understand today when you were saying how good Tennessee's lineup was, that you were talking about the bats specifically?
I guess not.
Because he just kept saying the pitching's questionable, and you're like, yeah, but this lineup is really good. And he was like, yeah, but the pitching in the lineup. I'm like, it's not what he's saying. The lineup would be the batting order, but
yeah, there definitely was. The communication was not all there, I guess. I don't know.
I don't think it's on you. Don't worry.
I was like, okay, it's not what I said. Cool. Whatever. There's a lot of people that's just like,
don't tweet.
Yeah. And like sometimes like I like get on Twitter, I'm like, oh, I'd like to tweet that. But I'm like, dude, so many people are gonna reply and just try to correct me. And I'm just like, it's not even worth it.
It's fair.
Yeah, it's rough sometimes.
Last thing. This was just funny. I haven't fact checked this or know this, and I just realized Bro Bible tweeted it, so it could be just. I don't know if Bob Huggins was quoted as saying he is more than 300 days sober, but that's what their tweet says. Bob Huggins is more than 300 days sober. However, he vehemently, I don't know if I said that right, denies that he is an alcoholic after DUI forced his ouster at West Virginia. Someone just quote tweeted and said Bob Huggins was arrested for DUI 277 days ago. And I was like, that would be great if any of those numbers are true.
Yeah, but so it's been 300 days.
Yeah, he should just go to Georgia.
I feel like that was like in the fall.
Yeah, I haven't fact
sure
checked any of it.
I'm sure even the cops are tired of getting Georgia at this point. They're just like, God dang it. Why did he have to get behind the wheel? It's like they're doing it they're like, oh, like trying to, I guess, establish boundaries. They're like, how can I, you think he's going to pull me over if I actually get in this car, like right in front of him? Yes. Sure. All right, guys. Thank y'all for listening. Guys, go check out Rowback. We'll get 20% off your first purchase using promo code More Important Issues. And we'll be back tomorrow with a bat flip. Back with this show on Thursday. Talking more bracket, more Sweet 16, more Creighton, more baseball, more everything. Spring practice in full swing. So it's going to be fun. That's all we got. We're bringing the boat in, and we out.